Well, the Commanders just lost their 6th straight game of the season, dropping them to 3-8. So take a walk with me and let's look at what went right and what went wrong for them out in Madrid. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we're here to go back to school. We're going to put the video up, break down the X's and O's, the ins and outs of what went right and what went wrong for the Commanders in their loss against the Dolphins. Not going to drag out this intro too much because we're going to let the film speak for itself. But before we get there, make sure you guys do hit the like button if you enjoy this video. Also hit the subscribe button if you are new around here. Without further ado, let's change it over. Let's not wait too long because there were some really interesting plays from this game. And I'm not going to lie to you and act like everything was doom and gloom. Everything was terrible. But certainly there were some spots that could have been better, and we're going to go over them. So this first play is actually not a bad play at all. I wanted to show this. This is the first play of the Dolphins' second offensive possession. I wanted to highlight this because this shows, dare I say, what a superstar Jordan Magee can be for this defense. I was hesitating to think if I wanted to use that word, but I'm telling you, he has the physical makings of a superstar, and there's nobody better in the NFL to learn from your first 2 years of being a professional than Bobby Wagner. So let's see if he can pair that mental side of the game with the physical components, but let's watch this play first, and I think that's what we're going to do with every play throughout this video. We're going to watch the play all the way through, and then we'll go back and take a look at it. So here we go. All right, now that I've actually got us on the right play here, let's take a look at what happens. Let's let it run through one time, and then we'll go back and break it down. Okay, so pretty mundane, right? Nothing crazy, little 5-yard gain. There are several reasons that I wanted to show this, all of which have to do with Jordan Magee's athleticism. So we'll see him right here in the middle of the field. As we play this, we're going to see we got motion, bunch of eye candy, Dolphins snap it. We know the Dolphins like to run the football. So right here, it looks like it might be a run. So we're going to see Jordan Magee drop down here. He realizes that it is not a run. He looks around. Watch what he does with his head right here. As he drops down, right here, you see him look around, and then you realize it's a pass, and he's got routes coming behind him. So what does he do? He flips his hips, and he's out of there to block the passing lane. Watch this again. Runs down, flip the hips, get back, be in the passing lane, cut this off to Washington. Tua is going to check the ball down. Magee is facing the complete opposite direction of Achane. So he just swivels his hips again, and then he's shot out of a cannon, gets down to the flat, open field tackle against Devon Achane, which is no easy thing to accomplish. Just watch this play all the way through again, and watch Jordan Magee. Watch how much he influences on this one play. Again, okay, we're in position to stop the run. Flip the hips, flip them again. Now we're going out. Again, this seems like such a simple play, and it's only 5 yards, but having a player who can have that type of athleticism and make those types of plays, again, this is a 5-yard play, but maybe there's a world in which coverage on the back end breaks down. There's nobody on that right side of the field. Everybody's been dragged out to the middle. If he misses that tackle, if he doesn't get out there quick enough, if he doesn't recognize he's got to get out there, that could be an explosive game. That could be a touchdown. But Magee, again, he influences so much on this play. It's not just the tackle. It's the fact that he leaps back, he lurches back to be in the passing lane, and he's here to get a hand up if Tua were to throw the ball there. This is just such an impressive play from a young player who's only going to get better with more time on the field. This was one of the easiest inclusions of the day. This was just such a fun play that Dan Quinn deserves a lot of credit for. So, again, we're just going to let this play all the way through, and then we'll go back and we'll break it down. 3rd and 5 on this, by the way. Get Jonathan Jones sacking to us. So let's back it up. And from before this play is even started, let me back it up right before the snap. Before this is even started, we've got a very interesting alignment. So we've got 5 players down on the line of scrimmage. You can see Frankie Louvu is actually lined up over the guard. We've got off coverage at the top of the screen, but then we've got Jonathan Jones pressed up, looking like he's playing man coverage. It's tough to figure out what exactly the Commanders are trying to do here. So as this ball is snapped, what we're going to see is these players are all flashing across. They're all moving in the direction of the top of the screen. Then we had Bobby Wagner right here in the mug, and he's dropping out. So now he's in position to guard the middle of the field. So take it back to right when the ball is snapped right here. Again, look at Vaughn, look at Lulu, look at Kinlaw. They're all slanting upward. You're going to see Vaughn actually comes across the face of the tackle from line up that 5 technique. You see, comes across his face right there. Again, you've got Lulu actually slanting inside, so he peels the guard in the center. Kinlaw is looping around to the far side of the line. And what does all of that do? Well, let's watch Jonathan Jones here, because this actually works to the Commanders' favor, what the Dolphins do. They run a drag. So initially, it looks like Jonathan Jones is playing press man, and he's following Waddle, who ends up going into a bit of a mesh concept over here. What that does, and I want you to watch Alec Ingold now, who is right here. I'm going to take this back. Watch Alec Ingold when this ball is snapped. It's really quick, but he does a very quick scan. He sees that Wagner's dropping out. There's no additional pressure he's got to worry about, so he's able to release and go on his route. Jonathan Jones still looks like he's in coverage on Waddle. As he gets further away, he notices, oh, wait, Jones is actually blitzing. So he tries to get some hands on him right here, and he can't do it. He can't knock him off his spot. And then with Vaughn having gone to the inside shoulder of the tackle, he has dragged the tackle. Luva's gone on the inside. He's dragged the guard. They have dragged them away from the space where Jonathan Jones, the blitz, is actually coming from. So if you watch it all the way through once again, look at how everything works together. Kinlaw's looping around here, so these two guys are distracted. Luvu's going inside, so you've got the guard in the center on him. Vaughn flashes across, goes to the defender's face. Jones is pressed. Looks like he's playing man coverage on Waddle, so Ingold can release. And all of that works together to create nothing but open space for Jonathan Jones, who gets Tua on the ground, and that's how you force the Dolphins to punt the ball. We have not seen any sort of blitz like that from the Commanders this season that I can remember. And I watch these games pretty intently. It's always possible that I can't remember it, but it's not in the memory bank. And DQ, this is just, it was a beautiful design. It worked to perfection. This is a great play to get your defense off the field. From one of the secondary's best plays of the day to one of their worst. Let's take a look at what happens on this play. This is early in the third quarter. Down distance, doesn't really matter. So I could be wrong, but I believe this 31-yarder was Tua's longest completion of the day. So let's talk about what actually happens here. So Dolphins come out, Tua's under center. We get a nice little play action that forces Luvu, Wagner. This is Noah I right here. Everybody drops down, and Tua does a great job. One thing you can't take away from Tua is these concepts coming off of play action where he just kind of has to lollipop it right over the linebacking group, and so the receiver can catch it right in front of the secondary. He does a great job of that. And what you got to respect about Tua on this play is this is just a terrific timing throw. This ball is leaving his hand before Waddle is out of his route. Before Waddle is even really starting his route, this ball is coming out of Tua's hands. That's perfect, a diagnosis of what's happening, and a perfect read and perfect delivery. You see that the Commanders' linebacking core, really the players in the middle of the field, because you got some defensive backs in there as well, they've sank down. Noah I has realized, okay, I got to be out here to guard Dulcich. These guys are all just kind of sitting in the middle of the field. So this big empty space, throw it to the empty grass. Waddle's coming on a dig route, and Tua nails it. Perfect. Now, what's the problem here? So it actually has nothing to do with Mike Sainristil or his coverage. This is pretty standard cover 3, deep third. He's responsible for the middle zone, and then deep third by Magee. He wants to keep this guy in front of him, so he tries to break on the ball. Again, it's just a terrific timing throw by Tua. Waddle runs a good route. So really, Sainristil is not at fault here at all. It's actually Quan Martin right here who we are going to be keeping our eyes on. Because as we play this, we see he just completely misses the tackle, and that leads to 16, 17, 18 yards after catch for Jalen Waddle, who's, of course, getting hyped because he got his first big play of the day. So Quan we all know about the tackling issues that he's had this year. And one thing that he seems to continue to fall victim to is he goes to where the player is, not where they're going to be. Let me see if changing the angle is going to help us. Oh, this should work. Let's see right here. So he's going to where Waddle was, but Waddle is flashing across him, obviously. So as he goes to make this tackle, Waddle is carrying his forward momentum past him while Quan's trying to stop all of that while also having forward momentum of his own, just moving perpendicularly. He's trying to grab him from behind, whereas he should be positioned in front of him so that he can apply more of his momentum, use that force to get Waddle onto the ground. Now, this is not meant to nitpick Quan. If this was just a one-off, I'd be like, okay, well, we learn, we move on from that. But Quan Martin this season has missed 17.5% of his tackles going into week 11. The numbers have not updated to include this game. So it's possible they went down. When you see plays like this, it's also possible that they went up. Quan, as a rookie, missed 15.9% of his tackles. Last year, he missed 15%. Now we're back up to 17.3%. So we're moving in the right direction, but now there has been regression. And we can talk about communication for things like coverage breakdowns and stuff like that. But plays like this, these are plays that have to be made. And it's not the easiest tackle in the world, but it's certainly not the hardest. And Quan's job as the safety, the responsibility, the position description is in the name, safety. You are the safety valve of the defense. And too often, it feels like that is shut off. Again, we'll watch it one more time, but this is just a very simple drag with nothing else around, and it's just a blown tackle, and that turns a 13-yard gain into a 31-yard gain. Over to the offense now. We're going to get a couple of looks at some CRod runs because really good stuff by CRod, but also really good stuff by the offensive line. So I'll let this play through one time, then we'll go back and we will break it down. Okay, so nothing crazy on this play. A 17-yard gain, not the biggest deal in the world. This was CRod's longest run of the day. But just because it might not have been an 80-yard touchdown, this is still a really good play. So we're going to start off with some motion from John Bates. It's going to end up being a bit of a GY counter, right? Yeah, GY counter. We just started off with some motion, but it's going to be Bates and Cosme who are pulling across. Brandon Coleman, phenomenal job of setting the edge right here. This is awesome from Coleman. He just tosses him out of the way. Get out of there. He throws him so hard that he actually loses his balance because he stumbles a little bit because he didn't expect to win it that quickly. Now, once we do that, the problem is, again, Coleman won so much that he's off balance. He and Bates are going to get their legs tangled up. Bates should be there to set this block on number 20 right here, but he can't, again, because Coleman's in the way. So CRod makes those two guys miss in a phone booth. This is, for CRod to be that bigger back who's your bruiser, for him to be able to do things like this in a confined space, this is just beautiful. And then once we get through here, we see that Cosme has worked himself up to the second level. He's able to block a defensive back. Laramie Tunsil has already got his hands on this defensive back, and now CRod is just going to beeline out of there, and that's how you get the extra 12 yards or so after this run. But, a lot of players involved here did a great job. Again, it looks a little sloppy because Bates falls over Coleman. That's because Coleman won to such a large degree. Coleman had a couple of these reps, whereas a sixth offensive lineman, he was just tossing dudes. But this is a great play by Coleman, by CRod, good design by Cliff, Cosme and Tunsil working up to the second level. I thought that was really good. And then here's the other running play we're going to take a look at. Again, I'll let this run through. So once again, doesn't look like the craziest play that you've ever seen, but more really good examples. We're going to see Brandon Coleman yet again getting his name out there for a guy to be inactive and not be a starter. For him to show up on tape like this twice as a backup offensive lineman when no lineman got injured, aside from Cosme for a couple of plays, and it was Wiley who came in. This is really good stuff from Coleman. Good job by CRod. And you're going to see this could have been, let's see, the ball is at the 47, it looks like, 46, 47. This could have been a touchdown, and you'll see why in just a second. So we've got an outside zone here, you're going to see Conerly right here and Coleman right here open up a really nice hole for CRod to run through. You're making CRod's job easy when you're opening up a hole like this. Let's see here. I mean, it's pretty, it's not quite what Jonathan Taylor's got with the Colts, but this is really good by the Commanders' offensive line, and CRod is able to get there. Now, the one thing that I can critique Conerly on about this, Conerly does a good job on this play, but he didn't do a great job because he's not quite far enough outside. You'll see Chubb works him. They're kind of, Chubb lines up to the outside, but then Conerly makes his move over. Now they're head on with each other. They're engaged. They're engaged. Chubb sees what's happening. He does manage to get to the outside of Conerly. So for this to go from a good to a great play, Conerly's got to be on that outside shoulder, trap him inside. But CRod still gets through there on an arm tackle. It's this player right here who ruins it and gets CRod on the ground, preventing what could have been a touchdown. I think this is 25, 29. CRod would have had to break this tackle, but if he does, it's a touchdown. And even if he doesn't, we got another extra 10 yards on this run. Now, watch Colson Yankoff. If he's able to get to this outside, and this isn't Yankoff's fault, there's just not enough space for him to squeeze through. But if he can get through right there and he can get his hands on this defensive back, just knock him back to the outside, CRod, it's just him on this line versus this safety in the middle of the field, and that's it. That's all that's separating him between it being tackled and then getting a touchdown out of it. So again, Coleman and Conerly create the hole right there. Yankoff is flying. He's so close to getting his hands on there. No fault of his own. Space just closes up. CRod, good burst, good vision to get through there. Not that that was hard to see, or not that that was hard to see. Would have been hard to miss, but good play overall for the Commanders. I've talked about this several times. CRod is the David Montgomery type of player. If Bill can refine his skills so that he can be that one-cut lightning bolt, lightning in a bottle type of player, this running back committee, they could have something special here. And then we get to the Commanders' final offensive play of the game. Very unfortunately, we all know how this one ends. This is a Marcus Mariota interception that essentially hands the game to the Dolphins. They just run their way down the field, end up kicking a short field goal, and they leave out of Madrid as winners heading into their bye week as well. So let the play run through, and then we talk about it. So it looks to me like for the Dolphins, we got some kind of man match going on here. Mariota's first read, and you'll see this, he's going to the top of the screen because his first read is a comeback route to Chris Moore. You can see right there, look at where Mariota's eyes are. He wants this. He's even going to pump fake. Doesn't throw it because of this defender right here doing a good job of keeping himself balanced between being in position just to deter Mariota from throwing this, but then also in position to get down here to cover Debo or to tackle Debo if it's a dump off. So Mariota resets, looks to the middle of the field. He goes, oh, that's Zach Ertz. That's the security blanket. Let me get it to him. This player right here could have potentially made a beat on it. Mariota throws it high to get it over his hands, but Jones has been trailing Ertz in position. He picks it off, and that's an interception. So, like I said, this is Mariota's first read right here, the comeback to Chris Moore. So we know that. Let's keep that in the back of our mind. Obviously, Mariota, he knows where he's going with the ball, but he doesn't know what's going to happen. So as we watch this, let's watch Zach Ertz from the snap. So 23 latches onto him. I pointed at the wrong guy. My apologies. 23 here. He's going to latch on to Zach Ertz, carry him across the middle of the field. You've got this defender right here already making it a tight throw. Zach Ertz, we know, is not the fastest guy in the world. Pretty easy for a defensive back to get a jump on him. And so that's exactly what Jones does. Also, Mariota, credit to the Dolphins here as well. Look how many players they have in position right here. Hey, Mariota, you want to... Why isn't it pausing? Sorry. Look at the Dolphins here. They've got 1, 2, 3 players in position to contain Mariota if he decides to scramble. He didn't scramble a lot in this game, but he did stay alive, and he had burned the Dolphins near the end of regulation with a 44-yard scramble. So they take that away. There's nowhere for him to go. He's very late going through this. Again, he kind of panics, says, oh, I can't throw it to Chris Moore. I don't want to dump it off to Debo for whatever reason. Zach Ertz is the security blanket. I got to get it to him. And it's just a nice jump by Jones. And that's how the Dolphins win the game for all intents and purposes. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Just 5 or 6 plays that I thought stood out for a variety of reasons. If there are any plays that I missed, any big moments in the game you thought I missed, make sure you go to the comment section and let me know. Also, leave me your thoughts on these plays. Do you blame Mariota? Did you like Jordan Magee? Whatever it is, anything you got at all, make sure you do go put it in the comment section below. I'll be reading and responding to as many comments as I can. I appreciate you all joining me here today. Make sure you do leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Link to join the Full Command Discord also at the top of this description. Might be back with another video today. Depends on how much news we get. For example, I saw the Commanders and Broncos game will not be flexed out of prime time. Fun. Whole world gets to watch us lose again, probably. But yeah, any other big news, I'll be back today. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow. So I'm head out of here. I appreciate you all joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a great day.